Okay, so what I thought we'd do today is we're gonna do section 5.1, the preview for 1324 stuff. In this unit, you get into what they call finance, and so um, it's just a lot of terminology. And there's a really nice app on the TI 83, 84, and Inspire that's built into the calculator that works finance. The one kind of hints I'll give you with that finance app is it's all about cash flow. Money, if I'm the businessman, money into the bank is positive. Money I put in the bank, the bank's getting money, it's positive. Money out of the bank is negative. So when you withdraw money, that's a negative amount. Okay, so if usually they do this program from the perspective of the businessman, but it's important to keep in mind money into the bank is positive, money out of the bank is negative. Some people will do it, some professors will do it backwards, like they'll do it from the point of the consumer. So money into my pocket is positive, money out of my pocket is negative. So you could do it from the standpoint of the consumer, but more realistically, it's your business, right? So I like doing the bank perspective. But the point is that the signs have to be paid attention to when using the app and the calculator, the finance app. So if it's going into the bank positive, out of the bank negative. All right, so that being said, there's a lot of terminology, and what I wanted to do was share with you some of this terminology in section 5.1. I don't think I'm sharing recording this, so let me make sure I am recording. Share screen. Make sure I have the right screen for you guys. Why? Oh, there we go. Okay, so I want to share terminology. There we go. All right, so the thing to keep in mind, like I said, is just a lot of terminology, and I want to make sure you know what it all means. Some of it's, I don't know, we'll see. All right, so deposit, you put money into a bank, you're putting it into to invest it, it's positive. You know, so deposit is money into the bank, right? Payment is what you're paying, like usually on a loan or something. You're paying the business, so that's money into the bank. So the interest amount is going to be a percentage as a fixed charge for borrowing money or money held in safekeeping. 5% interest. Now, when you work with it in an equation, you enter it as a decimal. So 5% would be 0.05. But when you enter it with the finance app in the calculator, you enter it as straight 5%. So that's one little difference with that finance app. So make sure you enter it not as a decimal, just 5% or 7 for 7%. All right, present value is what it is. It's the current value of a future sum of money. So it's basically my deposit or my initial investment. It's what I started with. That's like what I like to think of. Present value is what I started with. Future value is what I'm going to end with. Okay, so I invest $100 for 10 years. In 10 years, I'll have so much money. That's my future value. Okay, present is now, future's later. All right, accumulated value is the total amount an investment currently holds, including interest. So like if I put money in, I put $100,000 in and then I earned, let's say 2,000 in interest, my accumulated value is $102,000. All right. All right, the amount of money financed in a home, like when you buy a home, you usually put down a down payment. So if I buy a home for $300,000 and I put $50,000 down, I'm going to finance $250,000. So that's what I'm actually getting my loan for. Down payment, that's what I said, is what you put down. All right, usually, it varies from institution to institution how much they want down. And so you want to pay attention to that because you have to have so much to put down initially on a house when you buy a house. All right, equity is the value of the asset after all amounts owed against it are paid. So equity is like for example, my house. Well, not my house. I'll say, a house, like you own it for a while and you're paying down your loan. So let's say you have $100,000 left to pay on your loan, and your house is worth $300,000. Well, then you have $200,000 in equity. That's the part of the house that you own outright. It's what has been paid for. All right, simple interest is a stupid thing. It's a type of interest charged only on the amount after it's borrowed or invested. So nobody really charges simple interest. Banks never do simple interest. There's some formulas with these, like simple interest. Interest equals the principal, which is my investment amount, or present value times the rate as a decimal times time. So in years usually. So like 5% in this case would be like 0.05. Okay. If I invest $100 at 5% for 10 years, if I multiply that all out, let's see, 1,000. Well, I'll just do it real quick. So 3, 3, 4, 2. Okay, let's do this calculator. Okay, so let's do 100 times 10 is 1,000 times 0.05, which is the interest rate, is 5%. $1,000 times 0.05. So I get times 0.05. All right, so I get an interest of $50. That's all I'm going to earn. Well, that's not bad because it was 100 invested right over 10 years. So now you have $150. So this is your interest, if I did that right. So in 10 years, you will have, you leave everything sit there, it's going to have $150 because it's going to be the entrance, the ending amount. Let's just do it this way. Ending is going to be the principal plus the interest. So it's the present value, it's what I invested, which is 100 plus the interest I got, it's just 50. So in 10 years, I'm going to have $150 sitting in the bank. All right. Compound interest is more like what they do in banks. Basically, usually what they do is they charge you interest either monthly or yearly, or some kind of quarterly is 4 times a year. You know, most are monthly these days. And so what they do is, like, I might have an annual interest rate of 5%. So they charge me that monthly. So every month I get 1/12 of my interest charged to my account. That's true on credit cards as well. All right, they can actually charge interest too continuously. I don't know if they're going to talk about that, but they can actually do that. Yeah, so basically they have some time that they're, you know, if I do it quarterly, they charge a quarter of the interest 4 times a year, or they pay you if you're investing. Let's clear this out. All right, so some investment periods. This is like for compound interest. That's what they call N in the formula, but that's what you're going to enter into your finance app annually once a year. So you enter N is 1. You do it 1 time a year. It's just the number of times you do it. Come here. There we go. N equals 1. Bi-weekly means every 2 weeks. So if there's 52 weeks in the year, divide that by 2, 26. So N would be 26 if we do it bi-weekly, every 2 weeks. Semi-annually means semi is 2, so twice a year. So in this case, N equals 2. Monthly, that means every month, 12 months in a year, so N is 12. Quarterly, every 3 months, all right, so 4 times a year. Businesses operate on quarters. Weekly, all right, 52 weeks in a year, so in this case, N is 52. Daily, 365 days in the year, so N equals 365. They don't count if it's a leap year because when the N starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger, it makes so little difference. It almost becomes like it's doing it continuously anyway, so it's not going to matter. Some people even use 360. All right. All right. Okay, so vocabulary. Okay, well, we'll answer the questions and see that we get all this. How many months in a year? Well, probably we know that, 12. Right, so 1 month would be 1/12 of a year. How many weeks in a year is 52? So a week is 1/52nd of a year. Days in a year, 365. So 1 day is 1/365. 1/5 of a year. How many 2-week periods in a year? We decided that was 26. So it's a fraction, it's 1/26. Quarters, there's 4. So fractional quarter is 1/4. Semi-annually is twice a year. So that's half a year, 6 months. Okay. Down payment, put it in your own words. It's the money I put down on the house, put down on a loan. All right. Oops. Okay, I'm gonna talk my way through these last few. All right, so we were here. What does it mean to finance something? I hope that we understand that that means we're borrowing money, usually. So what I'm going to do is, buy a house for $200,000, and I'm gonna take out a loan, really, and buy a car. I finance a car, right? Most people do. Equity is what my car, my house, whatever it is I'm taking the loan out on is worth after I take out the balance on my loan. Okay, so like I said, if my house is worth $300,000 and I've paid off $100,000 of it through my loan, then my equity, oh sorry, it's what I paid off. It's $100,000, right? So if I take out a loan for $300,000 and my balance of my loan is $200,000, then I've paid off $100,000. It's whatever my house is worth that I've paid off. Okay, so simple interest, again, simple interest is I equals PRT. It's only applied one time at the end of the life of the loan. It's silly because nobody does simple interest. Compound interest is applied, more than once over the life of the loan. So, if you take out a 30-year loan, they may apply interest once a year, so they'll do it 30 times. They'll do 1/30 of the interest every time. Okay. So making sure you can round to dollars and cents. All right. When you're rounding to dollars and cents, all you need to do is look at the second decimal place, right? Because that's your cents. So if I look here, 238, if it's bigger than 5, I round up to the next decimal. If it's less than 5, I round down, or it's 5 or bigger. So if it's greater than or equal to 5, we look at the third digit beyond the decimal place. We go up. If it's less than 5, we go down. Okay. So if I look at this third digit's 8, it's bigger than 5, so I'm going to round up. So the 3 becomes a 4. So it's 40289.24. Okay. Now, this one's tricky because the third digit is an 8, which means I need to round up. Well, where do I go from 9? Think of this as 99. You're going to go up to 100. So the way that you do that is this is a 1, 0, 0. Okay. So you just add the 1 onto the next 9 digits. So it's that. So it's $329 even. Okay, so think about it, 328 and 99 cents, 99.8 cents is pretty much $329. All right, so the second decimal here is a 0, but I'm looking at this one that's less than 5, so I just truncate this, keep it off at 30. So it's 287730. Look at the third digit. All right, 7's bigger than 5, so I'm going to round up. Again, I've got a 9 there, so 9 goes up to 10. So this becomes a 1 and this becomes a 0. So it's 33492.10. All right, look at that third digit. This is 5 or bigger. We're going to round up. So that means this 5 becomes a 6. So this will be $555.56. Okay. Okay. Now, this particular person that did these notes, all right, they're doing it from the point of the consumer. All right, so please ask your professor, does he want it from the bank or the consumer standpoint, all right? What you have to understand, they just have to opposite signs. So they're doing it this way. When money comes into your pocket, it's positive. So we're doing it from the standpoint of the consumer. And let me know if he does the banker, because then we'll just change everything. So positive into your pocket. If it leaves your pocket, it's negative. So this is from the standpoint of the consumer. Okay. Money in my pocket, positive. Money out of my pocket, negative. All right. So, and this is going to help you with that, the app, using it correctly. All right. So Joe sends in $325 to the bank as payment on his car. So that's coming out of my pocket. So that'd be negative $325. All right. And that would be my payment. All right. So annotate. All right. Again, my pocket, she puts $200 in saving, is coming out of her pocket, so that would be negative $200. Hopefully, I don't know what that is, if it's principal value, if that's her initial investment or whatever, but okay. Clara goes home to the bank and takes all of the money out of her account and takes it home. So it's coming out of my account, it's going in my pocket, so that would be a $5,000. Okay, Kirby goes to the bank and takes out a loan for $12,000. All right, so again, that $12,000 is coming into my pocket. So as a consumer, that's positive. All right, Roy sends $1,400 to the credit union for his payment, so that's coming out of his pocket, so that's negative $1,400. Okay. Out of your pocket, negative. In your pocket, positive. Let's see, we're not quite. Yeah, that's that. Okay. So let's talk about, let's see these guys. Let's do some problems. Make sure we understand what they're saying. Sarah makes a 10% down payment on $24,000 needed to buy her car. She will borrow the rest. All right. So 10% down payment, I'm paying 10% of 24,000. So I'm going to do 0.1 times 24,000. And so if I move that over, I'm going to get 20. If I plug in a calculator, I'm going to get 2,400. That's what she's putting down. Okay. So how much will she have to borrow? She'll have to borrow the 24,000 minus the down payment. And I'm going to plug that in my calculator. So 24,000 minus 2,400, I get 21,600. So she'll have to borrow that much. All right. Carl's car, next one. Carl's car is worth 12,000, but he still owes 9,500 on his loan that he took out to buy it. How much equity? So the equity is the value of the car minus what he owes. So the car is worth 12,000 minus 9,500. And that's my equity. And I get 2,500. So he owns $2,500 that car, right? Okay. All right, let's see if I can get, there we go. All right, pencils. All right, Sam took out a loan to buy furniture that cost $2,500. He paid $500 up front at the time of purchase, and he makes payments of $200 every 3 months for 5 years to pay off the loan. Okay, how much money came out of Sam's pocket to pay for the furniture? All right, so we're going to figure out, I'm going to use the finance app on the calculator. Okay, so he paid $500 out front. So he's taking a loan, though there's no interest. Does he say what the interest is? $200 every 3 months for 5 years to pay off the loan. We don't know the interest, right? With interest. So let's figure out the interest. All right. So let me get my calculator up. So to go to the finance app, you're going to go, let me clear this off. All right, we're going to go here to apps, finance. Okay, so let's define TVM solver. So you're going to just press enter there for TVM solver. Now, N is the number of payments. So he's paying a grand total of 1 payment every 3 months for 5 years. So he's making 15 payments. So the N should be 15. That's always positive. The interest rate, we don't know. We're going to come back to that. Principal value. So the principal value is what he took the loan out for. He took the loan out for. He paid off 500, so he's got 2,000 that he took the loan out for. So that's what they call the principal value. That's what we took the loan out. He's going to make a payment of 200. Now, the 2,000 comes into his pocket. The 200 is coming out of his pocket, so the payment is going to be negative 200 every month. Okay. Now, the future value when you pay off a loan. The future value is 0, right? Because the balance here should be 0. All right, and the PY and CY are the number of times that the interest is compounded. Good question. Don't know. So we're gonna just leave it at 1 time per year. They should tell you that. No, we're making payments every 3 months. There we go. So the interest is compounded quarterly. So because there's 12 divided by 3 is 4. So times per year is 4. Now I want to find the interest rate. So I'm going to go back up here. I'm just going to clear that out. Just say clear. All right. So once I have this set up, I have everything but one variable entered, and I'm going to press alpha solve. So green button. The solve is down here. So the interest rate looks to be 22.23%. Oh, ouch. Okay. So his interest rate is 22.23%. Now, I don't know if I need that or not, but I just thought I'd show it to you. Hello. So that's a lot of interest. All right. So how much money came out of his pockets? All right. So $200 every 3 months. So if you think about it, for a year, there's four of those. So 200. He's making 4 payments a year every 3 months because 12 divided by 3 is 4. So 200 times 4, we're paying $800 a year for 5 years. So he's paid $4,000 to take that loan off, but he also paid $500 up front. So he's going to pay a total of $4,500 for that furniture. That interest rate's pretty high. Okay. All right. How much would Sam have paid if he had cash at the time of purchase? Well, if he had cash at the time of purchase, it'd be $2,500, right? So how much interest? The interest he paid is going to be the total amount he paid minus what he would have paid if he had not taken out a loan. So all I'm going to do is 4,500 minus 2,500, and that's going to work out to be $2,000. So he spent $2,000 in interest. Okay, so with these high interest rates, that stuff can really rack up pretty quick. You know, he paid almost twice as much for the furniture by taking out that loan. Okay, this next one, let's take a look. Okay, Ray. Okay, it says Ray invested $1,200 in an account and added no more, leaving it to earn interest for 4 years. At the end of 4 years, Ray's account balance was $1,240. All right. So I'm not going to use I don't need the app for this. If I start it with 1,200 and I ended it with 1,240, well, I earned 1,240 minus 1,200. I earned $40 in interest. Okay, over the 4 years. All right, so simple interest is not one you're going to use the calculator app for. Simple interest is rare. If it does, you have to use the formula I equals PRT. All right, so where I is the amount of interest earned, P is the principal, it's the initial amount, is what you invested or borrowed, is what you started with. R is the interest rate in decimal form, all right? And T is the time in years. So let's work with simple interest. Says Craig invests $6,000 in an account earning 12% simple interest and leaves it to earn interest for 3 months. When he goes to withdraw the money at the end of 3 months, he will receive his initial investment plus interest. All right. So I want to figure out his interest. So I'm just going to go to this formula, I equals PRT. Principal, rate, time. So the principal is $6,000. That's what he invested. That's what I started with, principal value. 12% is the rate. So we want to write that as a decimal, so it's 0.12. Okay. And 3 months is time. Now, I don't want to write T as 3 because it's years. So 3 months is a quarter of a year, right? So if I do 12 divided by 3, no. 3 divided by 12, it's 1/4 of a year. Okay. So we're going to plug those numbers in. So the principal is 6,000, the rate's 0.12, and the time is 1/4. All right, so we're just going to figure out what his interest would be. I'm going to plug it in a calculator. So I get $180. Okay, so he'll have $180 in 3 months, which is really good interest, but we don't get 12% typically. So, all right, so how much will he have in the account? So in the account, he's going to have principal plus interest, right? So his principal is what he invested at 6,000 plus the interest he earned, which is 180. So the stuff that he'll end up with is $6,180. All right. With simple interest, it says the basis of computation is always the original loan or investment amount. This is in contrast to the way compound interest, all right? So I guess we're doing simple interest here, right? So are we doing compound? No, we're doing simple. So in simple, the interest is always applied only once, right? So basically, I guess we're referring to this problem because there's 3 months. All right. So basically, his balance will not change until the end of the interest period. So come here. Okay, come on. Whoops. All right, so let's do this here. So basically, he's going to have $6,000 into his account. He's not going to earn any interest until the 3 months of the time is up. So at which point he's going to earn his $180 and he's going to have $6,180. Real life doesn't work that way. Most of the time, they apply the interest monthly, some kind of time period. So we're going to work with that next. That's called compound interest. So okay. Okay, so compound interest. This is the formula for compound interest. We don't need that because we have an app in our calculator. But I do want to kind of just show you the formula. I wouldn't recommend using it. Okay. So compound interest, it grows faster than simple because what you do is you like interest on your interest, all right? So the interest is compounding is what they say. So if I'm putting my money into an account and I just let it sit there and it's compounded monthly. So in month 1, I'll get 1/12 of my interest. And in month 2, I'll get another 1/12, but I'll get it on the money that's in the account, which would be the money plus the interest of the first month. And so I'm getting interest on the interest, and that would happen, every month. So, and that's typically the way these things are dealt with these days. So let's talk about the formula, what all the variables mean. It's A equals P times 1 plus R over N to the NT, all right? So A is going to be your ending amount. It's what I have after 10 years, all right? So the thing on the left is the amount in money, right, after time has passed, all right? It's the ending amount. P stands for principal. It's the beginning money. It's what I put in there originally. It's what I invested or borrowed. R is the interest rate as a decimal. Whenever you work with the formula, their interest rates need to be written as decimals. So what we're going to do, just to remember, like in the app that you guys use, the finance app, the interest is the interest is written as, not the interest rate is written as itself. Like 5% would be 5, but in the formula you write as 0.05. So you change the decimal form when you work the formulas, okay? And it's the number of times the interest is paid per year. So, and we talked about quarterly, N would be 4, semi-annually, N is 6, monthly, N is 12, daily, N is 365, weekly, N is 52, all right? And T is the time in years. All right, so we're going to kind of work through this in a table. Okay. All right, so now we're going to do kind of the same problem, but it's compounded monthly. All right. So, and we're going to do one by hand, doing what they call a little table like this, and then we'll show you the app. So he invests $6,000 in an account where he leaves it to earn interest. The interest on the account is 12% compounded monthly. Okay, so show the growth in his account each month for the first 3 months. All right. So the first month, if it's compounded monthly, he's going to get a twelfth of his interest. So what he's going to get is 6,000 times his interest rate, which would be 12%, so 0.12, but I'm only going to give him a twelfth of it because it's 12 months in a year. So this would be the interest he earns. I'm going to plug that in a calculator. So 6,000 times 0.12 divided by 12, and he gets 60 bucks. So if I add his interest to his balance, he's going to have $6,060. So in the second month, he gets another 1/12 of his interest, not on 6,000, but on 60/60. So I'm going to do 60/60 times 0.12, 12%, and 1/12 of that. So I'm going to plug that in a calculator. I get 60.6. All right, so what I'm going to have if I add that onto my money, so I take 60/60 plus 60.6. Is 6,120.6. So it's 60 cents. So, and then we're going to do it one more time. So now we're going to get a twelfth of our interest on the amount sitting in there, which is 6,120.60. And we're going to multiply by the 12% interest, 1/12 of it. 61. Let me clear this off. All right, so I'm going to take, sorry about that. Okay, 6120.60 times 0.12 divided by 12, and I get 61. I'm going to round it. 61.21 is 206. I'm going to round it to 21. All right. So if I add that to the money I have in there, So 612060 plus 6121, I get $6,181.81. So I want you to compare that. In the previous example, we had 6,180, so I get roughly $1.81 more over 3 months. But that adds up over time, so it does definitely affect it. Just to show you how the app works, because that's what I figure you're going to need. Let me get my TI up there. Maybe. TI Smart View. Okay, I'm going to pause the recording while I'm waiting for this to upload. Oh, here it goes. Never mind. It's good. Let's see if we can make the app match my answer. Okay, so here's the app. So let's see what I can fill in. All right, so I want to know the ending amount. So N is the number of payments or periods, whatever. So it's 12% compounded monthly for 3 months. So this really just going to be 3 times, right? 3 months. Is it just 3/12? Yeah, N is 3/12. It's okay. N is going to be the number of times you compound times time. So I should do that. So we're compounding 12 times a year, right? But the time is really only 3 months. So it's 1/3, 3 months. Compounded monthly, that's 12 times a year, and the time would be 3 months. So it's 1/4 of a year. It's just going to work out to 3. It's just going to have 3 times that we get the interest. All right. Interest rate is 12%. So because it's the app, I'm just going to enter it as 1212. No decimal. Principal value, he has invested $6,000. That has come out of his pocket, so it's going to be a negative. There are no payments because we're just letting it sit in the bank, so that's 0. All right, future value is what we're solving for. We'll skip over that. Now, how many times per year? Monthly, so 12 times per year it's being compounded. And that'll be, and leave this on end. Okay, so I'm solving for the future value. I'm going to clear that out. That's what he's going to have. Hit alpha solve. And hopefully that looks like what we got. Yeah, 6181.81. So the app does work quite well for this. I would only do it out like in the table if I had to. Okay. Okay. So yeah, like I said, we got about $1.81 more. All right. Let's do this one. And then we'll be done. Okay. At the end of January 19, Sally put $15,000 into account that paid interest of 5.9%, compounded quarterly, 4 times a year. Fill in the blanks for the month that each quarter would end. Fill in the schedule below, show the activity on the account for the quarter. So we're just doing it, this is quarters, all right? So end of quarter, March, so it's every 3 months. March, April, May, June would be the next one. Let me fill this in. Let's see. Hello, are we recording? Yeah. Let's do this one. All right, so let's do this. All right, March, April, May, June would be the next month. June, July, August, September, October, November, December. And if you count 3 more months, January, February, March, we're back to where we started. All right. So puts $15,000 into an account that pays interest of 5.9% compounded quarterly. So the beginning in June, she's got 15,000. That's my beginning amount. I'm going to apply the interest. So the interest would be what's in there times the interest rate, which is 5.9 as a decimal, is 0.059. And I'm doing it quarterly, so I'm going to divide by 4. Right? I did 1/4 of the interest now. So I'm going to plug that into a calculator. So I get $221.25. So, and then so my ending balance is going to be the 15,000 plus the interest. So it's going to be 17,000. No. Sorry, $15,221.25. All right. So I start off September with 15,221.25. I take that number and I multiply it by 1/4 of the interest. So it's times 0.059 over 4. $15,221.25 times 0.059 divided by 4. And I get $224.51. So again, I'm going to add this to what I started with. 51 plus 15,221.25. And I get $15,442.76. So that's what I'm beginning the next quarter with. So to get the interest, I take that money times 1/4 of the interest, 0.059 over 4. And I get $227.78 in interest. So if I add that to what I started with, $15,442.76, I get $15,670.54. Okay. So how much did it have in it? How much did the account have in it? $15,670.54. How much did she contribute? $15,000, right? And the interest would be $670.54. Let's see if that's what they're asking me. Yeah, so she entered $670.54 in interest. All right, that's it. Now, what again is, we'll walk through this, the app there. So the interest, let me write it down. Interest, it's off the page, but it's what I have is $670.54. Okay, minus the 15,000. Okay, so again, you can use the app here, and I think I'll show you that. Just so we're solving for how much did it have at the end. If I have that, I've got the answer to all my questions. So let's do this. Okay, let me pull up my calculator. Okay, Sally puts 15,000 into account. All right, so let's go through this. N is going to be the number of times that they apply the interest, or basically it's the times I compound times the time I left it in there. So I left it in there for a year, right? 4 quarters, or no, 3 quarters, right? Yeah. And so 3/4 of a year. So that would be, how often is it compounded? Quarterly. So, and the number of times that compound is 4 times the year would be 3/4. Basically, I'm going through 3 cycles of this, right? All right, the interest rate, 5.9%. We got that. Principal value out of her pocket, $15,000, so that's negative. We are not making payments. It is not a loan. She's not putting any money into the bank. Future value I want to solve for. So I'm just going to skip that. If I hit clear now, just to show you, you won't be able to move. So just put something there. All right. Per year, how many times per year? Quarterly. So we're compounding 4 times per year. So both of these are going to be 4. And so I'm solving for future value. So I go back up to that. I clear it out. And I hit alpha solve. Should match my answer, 15,673.59. Hopefully that's what I got. And so the app I can use. Okay. All right. So that's it. All right. And I will talk to you guys in class.